And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Alright, it's the current craze in America. I see these silly bands everywhere. I got kids in school wearing 20 of them. My daughters love them. They're sold everywhere. They have every theme imaginable you can get a silly band for. So, I guess it's not so surprising here that we have Battle Bands, which is a game about these. It's actually a collectible game, which comes with booster packs and starter packs, or this special Rumble pack here, which comes with a board and 15 of these bands that come with it. It's to be expected. I mean, if this is something you're interested in playing or getting, you better get it now or wait for a year before it goes on discount, and then you'll never find it again, because I imagine that these silly bands will be out of style in less than a year. I could be wrong, but it will definitely be less than 2 years. So they're around. Is the game any good? That's what we care about, of course, so let's look at it. As I said, it's a collectible band game, which comes in starter packs and booster packs, and that is probably going to irritate some people. But there's a lot of these bands, and if you look at them, they are in pretty cool looking shapes, I suppose, of monsters and such. In fact, the game is marketed, it says on it, a game, or when I got the preview stuff on it, they said, hey, we have a fun game for boys. Although I can see girls liking it just as much, just because of the nature of the silly bands. If you buy a starter deck, you get this absolutely gorgeous, high-definition board. Alright, well, after you choke on derision of how idiotic that board is, you're better off buying a Rumble pack, because this one comes with an actual board, which is much, much nicer in quality, although it's basically the same thing in how it works and operates. On the board, you see 3 different nations: orange, red, red, green, and blue, which match the color of the different silly bands. What you're doing is you're going to be building yourself an army of the same points as someone else. Each silly band comes with a card, so let's look here. The Stone Soldier, he's worth 35 points. Is there anything else special about this gentleman? No. So if I'm going to use the Stone Soldier character, he's worth 35 points in my army. That's it. Or I might add the Hippogriff, who's worth 30 points. But there's people who are worth lower amounts of points. See the Battle Frog here? Worth 5. So let's say, for example, we want to build a 50-point army or a 100-point army. We both take enough characters. There are some black characters, black cards anyway. Cyber Sniper here, which is a really cool looking silly band. And you're only allowed to have one of these in your deck, but they do have special abilities. They're the only characters who do. So you're allowed to have one of those. Then players will take turns taking their silly band, stretching it, and shooting it at the board. They are trying to land it in obviously a circle that gets the most points. Not into the abyss, though. Now, if they land it, let's say, for example, this is the Stone Soldier, who was worth 35 points. And he landed on a 15-point circle. He's going to get 35 plus 15 points. So that's 50 points. So but because he's in green, that doubles. So he just scored 100 points because he is a green thing. So if you land on your color, you get points. So obviously there's going to be skill in shooting here. You're trying to shoot for the middle ring and your color. The different black characters have different abilities. Like, for example, if this sniper lands on a space with a non-black enemy band right next to him, he can destroy it. But he can only destroy one band per turn. And then I had another one that I got in the demo packs that they sent me, where if it actually landed in the abyss, then the other player had to shoot from double the distance away that everybody else was shooting. So there's that sort of thing. But all in all, it's about skill. Now, I'm not sure about the strategy. It does seem like it's best to have a lot of small point people, because if you're a good shot, you can get more points that way. For example, 5 plus 20 is 25, 5 plus 20 is 25. A 10-point is only going to give you 30. I don't think kids are going to think about that too much. They're basically just going to pick ones they think are cool and use those. and try to get them all, of course, as is the idea of any of these collectible games. Well, obviously, I'm not in the target market for that, and I knew this. I don't wear these silly bands, although I have no problem shooting them. I love shooting rubber bands, so I thought that idea of shooting bands is cool. Hey, it's a dexterity game. I like that. I like shooting them on the right color, shooting them on the points. In fact, I like the game. It's not a bad little game, but collectible, that I don't like. I wish more of the silly bands had special abilities. You can only have one, and that's neat, and that adds so much to the game. I wish you could have 4 or 5 of them, because then building armies you'd have different things. It reminds me of another game that came out several years ago called Clout Fantasy, in which you took these poker chips and you tossed them on the table, and then when they landed on the table, they would attack other ones. And I always thought it was a neat idea. The game bombed dreadfully. I've kept mine because I thought it was a neat idea. This is the same thing, except you're shooting them. Now, I can't shoot to save my life, so when the Great Silly Band War of 2011 comes, I'm very much in danger. But kids are going to have a great time with it, and there is that whole collectible aspect, which, as a parent, I might caution you against, because your kids will say, I want more, I want more, I want more. Buy the Rumble Pack. That's enough to have fun with the game. Ignore the collectible part of it.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.